So hi, everybody. I'm Suzanne Grossman. I direct career services at the Mark School of Public and International Affairs at Baruch College. We have this event for all of CUNY, so we know there's Baruch students and some other CUNYs, so welcome to everybody. I'm here with our Assistant Director, Samantha Bruno, on my team. And we're very happy to have staff from ACS here to talk about their very interesting openings, as well as additional staff who can talk about the Staff Analyst exam, and they'll all introduce themselves. I will pass it over right now to Nayirka Lewis from ACS, and who's going to lead to kick us off with the presentation. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. I am going to just right away share my screen so that we can jump in to the content. Just thank you, Suzanne and Mark School of Public International Affairs, for partnering with us to share a little bit about several new roles and opportunities that we have in our office. My name is Nayirka Lewis. I serve as Associate Commissioner over Community-Based Strategies, and I'll pass it over to my colleague to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining. So my name is Carrie Mahan. I'm an Assistant Commissioner, and I work with Nayirka and Division of Prevention Services at ACS in Community-Based Strategies.
So today we are going to share briefly about our agency, our teams, and some of the details about the new roles that we have opening up in our office. Just so that you're aware, it can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months start to finish to get in seat. And so if you have time on your hands and have the kind of qualifications and skills that we're look like any of these positions, it is a prime time to just jump into the water. Lastly, we'll walk you through how you can apply for one of these roles. ACS is the agency that we are representing, and it is charged to protect and promote the safety and well-being of children in New York City and the families that are here with us. The Division of Prevention Services helps to develop and procure community-based services designed to strengthen the families that are facing challenges and challenging circumstances in their lives. Our division has 4 offices in it, and they're listed here. We represent one of those offices, which is community-based strategies. So the last thing, or one of the other things that I will share about prevention services, is that we deliver over 135 programs contracted with over 40 nonprofit organizations. And ultimately, we serve over 15,000 families every single year. And so much because of our provider network. Carrie?
Sure. So we're really proud of our prevention services because I think our goal is that we want to build partnerships with programs and also to really support families. And so our goal is really to make sure that the families, regardless of where they are and who they are and where they're from, that they can get free in-home services and that it's offered through the community that they feel most comfortable in. It's accessible to families regardless of their immigration status. And really, we work with the providers to really train up the case planners so that they can work with families to really achieve their goals together. And it's really to provide services early on so that the families don't get to a point of crisis and have to go into foster care later on. Right. So our continuum of services is made up of family support programs and therapeutic and treatment programs. So our family support programs is really to provide case management, resource navigation, service referrals, parenting counseling, concrete needs. This makes up about half our continuum. And when I say our continuum, it's the full range of the 135 programs we talked about. And so these family support programs are really designed to really work with the family more for the case management. We also recognize that in the community, every family has different and unique challenges. And so we also have the other half of our continuum that really does therapeutic and treatment programs. They also do case management, conflict, management, and also therapeutic services. But I will say that with the therapeutic and treatment programs, we've also worked with what we call model purveyors. These are folks who have designed and researched and developed interventions, therapeutic clinical interventions that will train case planners and therapists to actually go out into the community to deliver that specific modality. So we have a range of services that will provide services to children from 0 up to 18 years old. So
Go ahead, sorry.
I can talk a little bit about the Office of System Sustainability and Fidelity. So in community-based strategies, we have two sides of the house. We have Office of System Sustainability and Fidelity, and also the Office of Strategic Initiatives. Now, the Office of System and Sustainability and Fidelity is really charged with really working with all 135 programs to really support the ongoing longevity and capacity building of all of these programs. So we coordinate supports and resources to the provider community. We also oversee the implementation of the model. So that really requires us to have really high touch points with the programs, really understanding what's happening programmatically, also with the referrals that are coming in, and also giving some support in terms of guidance for best practices for implementing the model. We also monitor the program's alignment to the fidelity of the models that we work with, but also that they meet contract expectations. And we also look a lot at data to really understand how they're sort of aligning with our ACS requirements for standards, but also for child welfare as well. Pass it over to Nirka for Office of Strategic Initiatives.
Yes, so the other side of the house I'll talk a little bit about is the Office of Strategic Initiatives. This team is designed to help us understand what within any number or one of the programs, or even across our entire system, should be refined to better meet the goals of supporting families. The analysts, researchers, designers, and project managers that make up part of this team do the research and development on the populations that we serve and on our system to understand the gaps that are there, to understand where things are trending, and where within the city there might not be a service yet, and are really then coming together to design and provide the guidance for how to procure or create or develop something new and innovation to support families, and or really take a look at what about our policies or practices are impeding families from receiving services well, or are not best serving our continuum, and provide recommendation around how to address either policy or practice changes over time. So there are many, like I said, new roles that we are privileged to be able to recruit for, and senior analyst is one of them. And the analyst team compile large data sets to help evaluate the individual program's ability to meet and achieve the goals, and they would look at the measures across the system to determine areas of concern. Additionally, they would be able to look at special populations and publicly available data on families to understand what types of supports are still in need, are accessible or not accessible to families in place in certain neighborhoods, and then pass that information on to the research and development team, who would then direct their work on the best recommendations for best-in-class approaches or around new models that would address the gaps that they have been identified by the analyst team. Our grants and implementation team would then get the next handoff, and they would help to stand up that service in New York City for the families. And then lastly, the contract management team would then ensure that it maintains its fidelity, it maintains its high quality with all of what they do. They are the lifeblood of our system because they maintain its integrity.
Great. So within the Office of System Sustainability and Fidelity, we have a couple of roles available. And I'll start off with the contract manager and program officer positions, because there's 9 roles that are currently are newly opened. And really, there's some creativity to this role in that there's a piece of contract management where you're working with the providers to really support in sort of their implementation of the model. And what that looks like is really understanding how well that they have the capacity to really serve families to the expectations of what is prescribed by the model, but what we're expecting on the ACS front. But there's also a piece of this where you're also looking at the contract expectations, and you're also developing curriculums such as the learning collaboratives to really work with the provider community, but also what I talked about earlier with the model purveyors to really develop how do we sort of improve our practice? How do we build alignment across what is expected in child welfare versus what is expected clinically from the different models, and also really working together with the SI team to really look at data and understanding trends that are happening within the provider community and how we can best address them. They're also going to be working on initiatives about how we sort of implement processes in place so that we can lift up family voice and choice, for example, and really support the provider in that process. We also have a contract management coordinator, which is going to be supporting the team at large, really with actually facilitating a lot of the data analysis piece, but also collection of data, but also supporting on the front of making sure logistics are set up for the learning collaboratives, but also helping to design maybe some surveys and also helping to the program officers and contract managers to look at some bigger trends. There are 2 director positions that are also available. So the director of therapeutic programs will be the director overseeing a set number of contract managers who are all overseeing the half of the continuum that are delivering therapeutic models. And some of our models are BSFT, brief strategic family therapy, child parent psychotherapy, functional family therapy. There's a whole range. We have about 6 that will be under this specific portfolio of programs. And really this role is really to help facilitate to make sure that there any ACS guidance that is out there, that there's alignment across the different programs, but also really to help build up the contract management functions, which is looking at the specific provider requirements and also implementing processes that are in place. We also have the Director of Early Support Programs, which is exciting because this is a new portfolio of programs where we are building that out a little bit more, but a lot of that is really, we have an exciting set of programs that are going to be partnering with the DOE that will be coming out soon. But this is going to be building out more on how we can try to support families a little bit earlier in their journey.
All right, so now to the moment how do you apply for any of the roles that we have talked about? The first thing that you would do is to go to the website that is listed here. But if you're not yet ready to apply, and there are some things that perhaps we haven't addressed, we'll get to Q&A a little bit in a little bit, but you might want to head back, look at some things and have some other questions answered, feel free to email. I'm sorry, this is incorrect. It should say DPS instead of CBS. It should say DPS at acs.nyc.gov. So you can email that. If you go to this email, it will go nowhere, I promise. So please send it to DPS at acs.nyc.gov. And then in that email, you can request a time to just have a chat. I have popped on the phone with multiple folks to just chat through what's the scope of a role, what are the levels of experience, that sort of thing. What does the day-to-day look like? I'm happy to do that if that's something that you feel you would like to do. And so that is available. This is what the website looks like. And so you would come and navigate to that website. And then you would scroll down and get to the middle of that page, and you would find just so apply for ACS job opportunities. And while clicking that, you would then come to this page, which you could type in keywords or the job ID. For the jobs that Carrie has just discussed, they're currently posted, the contract management program officer roles. The 9 are posted, and the job ID specific to that particular role is 583110. And over time, the other roles will continue to come on and off. And so the thing to know about this system is that the roles will come on for a period of time and then come off. And so you may want to, reach out and say, do you know when X role will be coming on to apply, or pop into the website from time to time to see what is coming up if there is something specific of interest to you. And that concludes this presentation, and Carrie and I are happy to answer any questions that you might have. Suzanne, are there any questions in the chat?
Not as yet, other than I had asked if you could put the link from the PowerPoint into the chat so people could click on it while we're here and poke around. Right, so let's ask, oh, there is a question. Does the organization hire international students? Basically, do you sponsor people who are not US citizens?
I cannot answer that, but I will get the answer to you. How's that? Is that fair? I actually do not know the answer to that question.
Okay, yeah, and I know the student who's asking that question, so I can get back to her.
Yep.
We're going to do the staff analyst exam piece after this, but now is a chance to ask questions about these roles that were just described. Anybody want to raise their hand or put questions in the chat? Let's see, there's a question. Can an MPA candidate, wait, hold on a second. There's 2 questions. Can an MPA candidate be eligible to apply for these positions? I guess someone who hasn't finished their degree yet.
Absolutely.
Okay. I kind of have a follow-up to that in a second, but is this more for biological and environmental sciences and public health?
I'm curious to have more context to that question. Is it because of how because I know that the civil service title has city research scientist, which might suggest that it's like environmental sciences. But I just want to clarify if that's sort of the intent of the question or where the context is coming from.
For the student who put that in the chat, if you could unmute yourself or put in some more clarification, either way.
I will say that a lot of these roles are really program based, so not really necessarily for biological, environmental sciences, and public health. There are some implications for public health in the work that we do, but it's definitely not for biological and environmental sciences. But I know that the civil service title might be, because of how it's captured, it says city research scientist, which includes maybe some of that language.
Do you need to have a civil service title, these roles?
No.
Okay, so not needed.
But
And
if you are hired in that role, there is a certain period of time where you will, for folks to be eligible to get a civil service title. It is highly encouraged that once you get a seat that you will try to get a civil service title for that role.
great. Someone's saying, I think that probably the link in the chat is a Google Doc that might have needs permissions.
Yeah.
On it. Okay.
Yeah.
The minimum qualification requirements, it doesn't say that the MPA is applicable. Is that for a specific role or yeah, I think we need more context of which role you're talking about. For Rick Kelmer, who put that in the chat. I did Nayirka, you and I had a conversation before this event about some of the skill sets that you felt were valued, or maybe you could say a little bit about that, like some of the things we talked about. I know there's certain ones, more like data visualization for certain roles, but
Right.
Yeah.
So the analyst and senior analyst, the senior analyst would have some experience, and the analyst would assist, but be able to maneuver databases, be able to bring lots of metadata from across multiple database together to help to analyze various different types of populations with different circumstances that are befallen them. So, for instance, we have the asylum seekers that have come to New York, and we may be interested, or we might need to try to understand a spike in something coming around folks who are in shelter and really wanting to understand that data. So we would be looking at the data that it's available across multiple types of database. So being able to code and pull that, use certain systems, Tableau, Power BI, R, SPSS, to understand that and to pull the data together. So that's externally, but then internally we have, like I said, 135 different programs, 15 or so different models. How are each of those models faring? Are the families that are being served by those models being served well? If not, to what extent is the data pointing us to what we can do to refine our processes, either in-house or with our partners, to make things better, to make things stronger? So that's the analyst folks. We also have a set of project management team members. So you'll see Director of Family Voice and Human-Centered Design, who are largely responsible for that human voice and choice, and getting out and working with the families that we serve to really hear from them about what it is about our services that they feel are excellent and what can be made stronger for them. And then similarly with our providers, getting their voice in on how their interactions are with us, what we can do to support them, and how we can provide the resources they need to be successful in delivering the services. We have many projects that come from the city, from the mayoral office, or from our commissioner's office that we would have to get out and try to think about and collect the data and execute. And so those project managers for system enhancements are really looking at a project base for a period of time to lift up that project. Youth and homeless shelters, or different types of projects around different niche populations that are for one reason or another coming up to our attention at the city, for us to really focus in on and figure out what kind of support we can lift up and provide. The implementation and grants director is going to be looking at federal grants available to help us fund a lot of the initiatives that are going to be designed. We do have one project manager coordinator, a special project coordinator role, which is a very entry-level role for those of you who feel like you have some project management skills and all of that, but may not have had a long period of work experience. So those are some of, and then of course there are two administrative assistant roles listed here. Just sharing all of the things that we do have available.
What's your 30-second pitch, or the thing, what would you both say? Like, why should people come work for your office? Like, what do you have to say that's like, come work for us?
I would say that CBS is the incubation space that helps to create and deliver and help ensure that things are thriving, that help our communities, the folks that are most in need of support, really begin to change their circumstances. So our unit is specifically charged with looking at and designing and innovating. And so we have to kind of team it. There's a lot of collaborative teamwork, a lot of really difficult, hairy, sticky situation. I don't know if I'm selling it or not, but that attracts me. There's hairy, sticky, hard situations that we are charged with really trying to figure out the best solution given all of the constraints that we live under. And so what is the best solution that we can design and we can employ for families? And it is our charge to keep that, to build that, and then to sustain it. And so that's what I would say is exciting about working for CBS. Carrie?
Yeah, I think for me, maybe I can share about what sort of draws me into this work. It's the fact that we're working in prevention. And I just really want to just put out there, we recognize that ACS has been in the community for a very long time. Not all of it has been positive, but I think with our specific office, we're really trying to work with providers differently and really empower providers to work with communities and really address some of that historical, intergenerational harm that has sort of been in the community. And so I think what draws me here is that we are trying to take a human approach to our work and really translate that to how the providers are working in the community and really lift up those families' voices. And the fact that we're working in prevention is exciting for me because our continuum is the biggest in the United States in terms of the investment that they have made to prevention services. And the goal is really to not have deeper system involvement for families to go into foster care. And so the hope is that we are designing and creating programs and support structures out there that really can be true to that. So I would say that that's the reason why at least I work here, and I hope that people would want to work here for that too.
Great, thank you. I did want, oh, go ahead.
Another question in the chat, just doubling down on the civil service qualifications. If so there's a whole, it's a laundry list of things that could, all come together to have that person qualify for that particular title. And so what I would say is if you do feel like you touch upon those pieces, then I would go ahead and apply. Otherwise, if you're not sure, please do send us an email at DPS. I'm going to put it in the chat at ACS.NYC.gov. So that we can schedule a chat and just kind of listen and talk through whether we feel like it meets the threshold. We've seen lots of applicants come through that meet the threshold who would otherwise, if you read the document, you feel like, who's the super person that has all of these things? And so feel free to email us and we're happy to have a chat.
Great. And we can certainly return to more questions with you both. You have right. Okay, so we're gonna turn it over. It looked like Sheila stepped away, but I know Christina Chan is here, and she's gonna take over to talk about the civil service exam coming up.
Yeah.
Here she is.
Hi everyone. So Sheila has returned, but I can kind of kick this off. So my name is Christina Chan. I do work with Ms. Sheila Gorski over at the organization of Staff Analysts. We are the organization and the civil service union that represents the title of Staff Analyst. The notice of exam that you do see on your screen here is going to be the application that is now considered live on the DCAS website, right? So you can apply anywhere between May 4th and May 24th. As the union representing the title, we do want to advocate for some type of civil service exam that you will be taking, especially if you're interested in joining the amazing world of civil service. I myself have taken the exam, so I can attest to the process and kind of the work that's really fulfilling within the field. And ACS, thank you very much for giving that presentation. It was fantastic. Thank you, for putting this together. So let's start off here. The application fee itself is $68. That is going to be through the OASIS website. I will try to put the link somewhere in the chat later on, but you would need to go to the DCAS website. You would set up a profile for yourself, meaning you would give all of your information as far as your education, your levels of experience that you've had, so that you can qualify for the title of Staff Analyst. Now, I would encourage everyone on this exam, if you are considering some type of work within the city, take a look at this notice of exam. I believe that because the qualifications have changed in this specific exam, it does have a high school minimum requirement. It then has 6 years of additional experience on top of the high school. You can have a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, and a master's degree to qualify for this with additional years of experience. Read through the notice of exam. It is very, very interesting, and it does give you a wide range of different job opportunities within the city. The organization of Staff Analysts is offering application assistance. So I'm not sure if there's a screen for this or a slide, but you can join the organization of Staff Analysts related titles that will cost you $97.50. You would be able to receive application assistance through OSA. So we would help you complete the examination application on the DCAS website. We would also offer training courses through this, through our organization as well. So with the Staff Analyst exam, there is going to be two parts to this: the education and experience, which you're going to complete on the DCAS website. The second portion would be the multiple choice exam, which will be given at one of the DCAS testing centers. OSA has catered a training curriculum to assist you when you are taking that multiple choice exam. We do offer different courses throughout the next month. So far on our schedule, we do have management and supervision. We have budgets and contracts, communications, and grammar. We do have a large section on math just because it is an analyst title. You will be dealing heavily within different numbers and statistics depending on the type of work that you're doing within the city. There are analytical tools that we're offering in another training course. Personnel, as well as our chairperson, Robert Krogan, has put together an amazing presentation on test-taking techniques. So we do have those offers coming up. You can take a look at our website. It is osaunion.org. I will link that in the chat for you. But if you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm here. I can also leave my email address if it's easier for some folks to correspond via email. And if you have any additional questions, I'll leave the union phone number there as well. I will turn it over to Sheila to see if there was anything that I might have missed or anything that, she wants to add. So thank you all for your time. Sheila, I'm turning to you, but your mic is on.
Okay, now I'm there. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, everyone. We wanted to show you that we will be helpful to you if you want to take this exam. Now, you only have a few more days left till the 24th. So if you hurry up and go to the DCAS website, you might be able to find the application and complete it, and then call us if you need help. In terms of the experience and education, up until, I would say, a month ago, before they changed the education requirements, you needed a college degree and 2 years of experience as an analyst. So people who are just graduating and haven't worked would not necessarily be qualified because they don't have the 2 years experience as an analyst, unless you've worked during going to school or volunteered somewhere and look like you doing analysis work. Right now, however, they've reduced it down to high school. And that means that you would need the 2 years experience as a staff analyst, plus the 4 years you would need if you had a college degree. So basically, if you have a high school and 6 years as a staff analyst experience, you would qualify. So, they've changed it, but it still looks the same, especially if you're graduating college. And I believe that if you graduate before the exam, which is in August, they will accept the education experience as a college degree. You don't have to have it at the time of the application. So that's always been the case. I'm sure it hasn't changed. If it does, we'll let you know. And then we have, as Christina said, we have training classes. Is there any way to move this down? Because we sent you a sheet of the training. Can we move the screen down from the notice of exam?
This is just a screenshot, but we can, if you want me to open a different, a
Yes,
web page.
Yes,
I'm
please.
gonna.
I can just, I pulled up what I got sent from Crystal, so I can share that if you want.
Sure. Great.
So Sheila, is that what you would like?
Yes, I thought we'd show what the
Okay.
training
Yep.
was about.
Yep, will do. Let me stop the share and reshare. Let's see, where is the, there it is. Okay, here it is. Okay,
That's the notice of exam.
okay,
We'd
this
like
is
to
what
see
she
the-
sent me.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay,
Just leave that behind.
leave it behind. Keep going.
Okay. Now, if you want to get the notice of exam, you could just go to you can find this is what the notice of exam means. That's the job description, but we'll come back to that.
Okay,
Yeah. So you should just go to the DCAS website and look at the notice of exam, which we just showed you a piece of, and see if it interests you at all. And if you think it might be okay for you to take your time. Okay, here we go. Move it. So here we are. We are starting our training on 5/22, which is next week, because we have to do 8 or 9 sessions. And the exam for the staff analyst is August 4th. So we have to do that very quickly. And so these are the subjects we have. If you want to move them down, you'll see that budget, communications, grammar, most of the things that they talk about in the notice of exam that will be on it, we train in these. And we've been doing this training for many years, for many exams. The content does not change. I mean, math doesn't change, statistics training doesn't change. What goes on in personnel and the rules, they don't change because it's a civil service law, and that does not change. And the other things going up do not change. So we basically communications and grammar doesn't change. How to do budgets and contracts, they change over the years and what they're contracting, but the theories don't change. And of course, being in management and making decisions on policy, that doesn't change, if you're in that position. And of course, you have supervision of people. If you're a staff analyst, you'll probably be supervised by an administrative staff analyst or an associate staff analyst. And, on the other hand, you are also part of being supervised. So you might want to know what it's like to be a supervisee as opposed to a supervisor. So that's an interesting classes as well. So that's what we would be training you on if you plan to do that. Now, the dates are a little starting early, but we may plan to repeat the first 2 sessions at the end. So we'll see about that, but it will go into August 4th. That's the problem. Now, we also have in June, they're going to start the notice of exam for the second civil service title, which is a staff analyst trainee. And that's below the staff analyst. However, you always should take 2 of these exams because on some of them you'll do better than others and be appointed before you are by the other list. So it does not hurt to take these 2 exams. And once again, the qualifications are high school, but for the staff analyst trainee, it's less than 6 years. It's only 4 years, because if you're just the college degree, you don't need any experience. You just need the college degree. But if you have a high school, you only need 4 years to greet you up to the college degree. So in many cases, you might be more eligible to take the staff analyst trainee test, which is again coming up in June. So you want to look on June. I don't know, Christina, what the date of the is for the June. I think it's maybe starts on the June 8th. I'm not sure. What does it say? June 7th. So on June 7th, you can go to the DCAS website and look for the notice of exam for the staff analyst trainee, SAT. You might be more eligible for that if you have no experience at all and a college degree. So, depending on your experience, you have to decide which one you're more eligible for. And if you're eligible for both, I would suggest you take them both. And I don't know when that exam will be, but it might be in September or October. So
can I ask a question? Someone was asking this, would you join OSA as a prospective candidate or only after securing a position in that title? Like when you're paying this fee to take the prep class, are you basically joining the union?
You're not necessarily becoming a member and receiving our benefits, because you have to be a civil service servant to do that. But you will be available to ask any questions you want during the year. And also what's going on, and we give advice on what to do. And you get copies of our mailing that we send to members and our newsline. So it keeps you in touch with what our union does before you become a member.
Perfect, great.
And it's for a year. It's for 1 year, $97.50. So by then the list may be out, maybe you'll be appointed, and things might look good.
Someone's wondering about the training class. Is it once per week? Is it every day? Like how often is it?
Well, it's through Monday through Friday, and it's the same class every day. So you choose 1 day a week. So let's say on Monday you come and you get your supervisory, and on the next Monday you come, you'll get your contracts. The next Monday you come, you'll get your statistics, or however. Yes, you come once a week from 5:30 to 9. And we'll even give you cookies if you are coming.
Are there sample tests? Someone's asking, are there sample tests available to gauge if they need to do the prep test?
Well, we have part of the material we also give out a lot of background information on our website for each class. So there's a lot of material on management. There's a lot of questions. We have hundreds and hundreds of multiple choice questions on the training materials. And we also train you in answering multiple choice questions after each session related to that session. So there are many, many questions. You know, you could buy a book, but it might not be, you know, up to date, or it might not be the same questions. So, you know, certainly if you want to practice multiple choice, you could do it anytime. The content I wouldn't necessarily think is wonderful, but, you know, ours are a little more towards the topic, and we have that on our website. But certainly trying to do multiple choice exams are very difficult because there's always two bad answers and two good answers. And that's where the clue is. So we're trying to train you on how to do that as well. But certainly practice multiple choice questions, because if you don't read the question properly, you're not going to get the right answer. So it's like an SAT or any other exams that you've taken before, except this may have a little more content. But the
Are these virtual or in-person prep sessions?
These are in person.
And is that the only option?
Yes, at the moment, we're at 220 East 23rd Street, which is between 2nd and 3rd Avenues on 23rd Street. So if anybody's going to Baruch or right down the block, we're not far. Otherwise, the 6 train or any train will get you to 23rd Street, and you could walk or take a bus across. It's not a big deal.
I had a question.
Usually at this moment, we have about 50 people in the class.
Okay.
We can, you know, we can help another, 20 or 25 people before we get too crowded, but even then we might be able to help after that.
Great. Can you help us understand the importance of doing, like, what does it mean? I know there's like a list, there's a list generated.
Yes.
Like, why should you care about your score? Like, what happens in terms of these lists that are generated based on the exam?
Yeah, obviously, civil service law requires when there's a list coming out, it's in list order number. And you have to interview people in list order number. So if you're number 99, you won't be interviewed until 1 to 98 is interviewed. Or if 1 to 98 doesn't come to a hiring pool for an interview, you'd be the first one on the list. But you must go in number order, and people are interviewed. So if an agency interviews 3 people, they're supposed to choose 1 out of every 3 people that they interview by civil service law. So there's also something on my website under exams. You'll find my video on the civil service rules and law. If anybody's interested in that, they could check out our website and see my video on that one under exams. So yes, there is civil service law.
And so someone's just clarifying that the list is in order of the score of the exam.
Exactly.
Okay. And what if someone starts at one of these positions at ACS that we just learned about, not off of an exam? Does taking this exam or similar exam help once you're already in a provisional title?
Well, let me put it this way. If your agency has got the list of staff analysts and you're working there and they know you and your number is reachable on the list, you probably have a better chance of being picked up and appointed, because they know you and they'll do you that wonderful favor and make you a civil servant.
Great. Question, if you pay for the class, can you attend different days each week to accommodate scheduling conflicts, or do you have to come the same day each week?
Well, obviously, we'd like you to come the same day so we know how many people are coming, but obviously, if you can't come on a Tuesday, come on a Wednesday. What can I.
Great. Other questions? Well, we have everyone here, whether that's for the ACS folks or for the union.
So I also sent you some job descriptions for the staff analyst and the staff analyst trainee, if you want to go back up.
And now we have a website. We have your website up on the screen.
Yes, thank you.
Is it something that's on the website that we could?
Yeah, this is under exams, Christina, I think. Yeah,
So Sheila, if you're looking for the job description, I think that Crystal might have emailed them over.
yes, she did. But you know, if you want to go to exams, you'll see my view of my movie there.
What would you like me to click? I'm not sure which link.
Exams on the left.
I
It's the third from the bottom.
Okay.
I actually think you're already in that. tab.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so
I
we
am.
only did that page. But if you go back to what we sent to you, scanned to you,
Okay, the form, okay.
yeah, the forms.
All right, let's see it, share.
Someone's asking, where do you see online, or is that something we can email everybody, that the actual, that schedule that you had for the test prep?
It should be up shortly.
Okay, so it's not up yet, but
perfect.
to look on the
Yeah, it'll be
website?
up this week, hopefully next week, this week.
Okay,
This form?
No, that's the
A
notice.
little bit,
Exam.
yeah, it's a little bit further down, I think.
Down.
Mhm.
Okay, they're a little old, but that's what we have. Yeah, there they are.
Right here.
Okay.
All right, so your staff analyst has the class of positions for preparation for economic studies, operational studies, duties and responsibilities are basically what was described to you before. That ACS takes care of. But if you go down to examples of tasks, you'll see what we're doing. That's it. We do budgets, and we do organizational analysis and interpretations, sort of what we train you in. Further down, you can see organization and record management systems, performance standards. That's what you would get in the personnel section. Analyzes organizational structure. You get that in the analytical tools and different things like that. So basically, our tasks are covered in the NOE and also in our training classes. And certainly ACS did a great job on telling you what you would be doing as an analyst. So again, this staff analyst has 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. And level 2, I guess, is based on if your boss likes you or not. But staff analyst trainee, by the way, if you go to the staff analyst trainee one, after 1 year as a staff analyst trainee on probation, by the way, you have to serve probation for 1 year for staff analysts before you become permanent, which gives the city an advantage. Sometimes if they don't like you, they can fire you and you can put yourself back on the list, but you will fail probation. Or if you don't like the job, you can resign and start all over again by putting yourself back on the list and starting with another agency. You have those options. The staff analyst trainee is a probationary period, but it's 2 years. It's a staff analyst trainee level 1 and I'm sorry, step 1 and step 2. After which, if you complete the probation for the 2 years, you will become automatically a permanent staff analyst. So if you don't take the staff analyst exam and you take this one, in 2 years, if you finish your probation, you will be a permanent staff analyst. So there's a difference here. It's an extra year and it's cheaper and it's a better job. And then you'll become a staff analyst. So take a look at the job descriptions and notice of exams when they come out and see which one affects you the most and is better for you. I have a feeling it might be the SAT. So,
and well, this group today is mostly master's level folks.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a master's
Okay,
level
so
audience.
the college is okay, that helps. So
Yeah,
you're
we didn't, this is
2
not an
years.
undergraduate event.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 years experience then for the staff.
And
You
the
don't need the experience for the staff because you have a master's.
great.
Yeah, that would give you the extra 2 years above the college, so you're okay. No experience necessary.
Am I right that the last time the staff analyst was offered was in 2018?
What happens with the city is unbelievable, of course, and that means that it takes them time to do everything. And the last exam was over in 18. And they had to give an exam, so they gave it sometime. It didn't come out till 19. So this exam is good for 4 years. However, the 4 years is up next month. So they are giving another exam. Now, what will happen to this list that's current until they mark and give this exam? I would say another year or so. So, you know, the new list probably won't come out till 25, you know, anyway. And if we're lucky, come out in 25. So,
Well, the idea here is that these don't come out that often, and
no,
so
it's a 4-year list. So
Yeah.
it's a good time to take this one because you'll have to wait 4 or 5 years to take the next one.
right. Yeah, you don't want to miss out.
Now,
Um,
also the next title up is the Associate Staff Analyst. And that exam was given in 2020, actually at 19, and that also did not come out till 21. So that list is a little more, it's going to last till 25. However, if they don't give a test next year, they're not going to meet that criteria to end in 25. So there'll be that list, my exam, you know, last another 4. So if you take these exams, even if you don't get appointed or you do get appointed, you could still take the next one of the ASA and come in as an ASA, because they'll also give an administrative staff analyst. And the difference between those are the experience of an analyst. So with an ASA and a master's, you probably need 2 years. And admin, you probably need 4 with a master's. So you have to wait till, you know, maybe hopefully at the end of next year, they'll give those exams again. They try to do it every 4 years, but sometimes it's 5 or 6.
I want to be mindful of time because it's 2:00 and I see
Sure.
Veronica, you sent an email. We can email about that separately. And I will send an email to everybody who registered so they can have the recording and also some of the links and information that were shared today. So thank you, Nayirka, Carrie, Christina, and Sheila for joining us today. Please join me, everyone, in thanking them. We have contact information pretty much for everyone here. So if your question or you think of a question afterward or didn't get your question answered, I'll be sure to send around some of that contact info. And yeah, thanks everyone again for joining today. We appreciate it.
I know.
Thank you all.